Good evening. This is a call to order for the Instruction and Support Services Committee. Today is Tuesday, April 9th, and it is 6:31. In attendance is myself, Chair of the Committee, Jeff Perez. Committee members Willie Medina and Andre Woodson are virtual, and Joseph Sokolovic, board member, is in attendance as well. The first item on the agenda, it's been a day, guys, is the approval of minutes from March 19, 2024. I want to move that.
I'll move it.
I'll move it in a second. Oh, there you
Okay.
go. I'll
So
second
moved by
that.
Mr. Woodson, seconded by Mr. Medina. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Minutes are approved. Next, we have the discussion of possible action of the Talented and Gifted Programs trip to Nature's Classroom in Ivory Town, Connecticut, from April 29th through May 1st. Anybody presenting on that here? We're gonna move to, we're gonna hold that one for now. We're gonna hold that, and then we'll go to High Horizons. So.
Could make a quick motion to move the item up.
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion to move item number 4, discussion of possible action on the High Horizons Magnet School field trip to Philadelphia from May 15 to 2024 to May 17, to the next item. So if somebody wants to second that.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so
Aye.
we'll be discussing High Horizons.
You just sit them up there or sit?
They can hear from us. Oh, you can walk if you want. Yeah, okay. Everybody like, here you go. Sit right here?
Okay, I'll sit right next to you. So good evening, Mr. Medina, Mr. Woodson, Ms. Perez.
Good evening.
So we did submit our comprehensive field trip packet 30 days in advance of the request of the trip. The trip is scheduled for May 15th through 17th. I did double check the field trip checklist, and all the permission slips are in and accounted for. I brought Mr. Meehan, who's our social studies teacher, who is the orchestrator of this trip, to answer any questions that you might have. He's been doing this for over 20 years. Just so you know, a little history, we alternate between Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. So the 7th and 8th grade get to experience 2 different trips during their time at High Horizons Magnet School. So last year they went to D.C., this year is Philadelphia. We organized this trip through a travel agent, so there's lots of perks to this. Students get meals provided for them. The spending money is included. Most importantly, there is security provided for the students. The student to staff ratio is also very tight. So, Mr. Meehan, do you have anything that you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, so we've done this 20 times before, 20 years. Not this. There's 7 trips to Philadelphia. And as you said, Washington, D.C. Every other year. We even do a little bit more than that. So, and that in each fall, we did a day trip to Boston one day, and then the following year we go to New York City. So this year the kids have already gone to the Statue of Liberty and the 9/11 Memorial. The 8th graders have visited the old State House in Hartford, and now we have this trip, which is a culminating trip for our 8th graders, but for our 7th graders, it sets up next year. And I think about these trips, and we used to say that this is to get away from the textbook and get away from the fact that they learn about the Constitution and Constitution Hall in the textbook, but that's not the case anymore. It's not the textbook; it's online, and so they can create PowerPoints and beautiful pictures, but now they need to be there. They need to see it. They need to sit in a room where Jefferson and George Washington sat, Ben Franklin, for the Declaration of Independence and for the Constitution. And also, so the other things, there's also the Science Museum, aquarium, and we also run up the Rocky Steps. And at 64 years old, I still will be 80% of the kids up those steps and cheer at the top.
But also, I'd like to add too, through these trips that Mr. Meehan organizes and supervises, the students get some real life experiences that they might not otherwise get exposed to. It's at a reasonable price. We do a ton of fundraising for the students. We have a lot of donations that come in for these trips. So, there's really not many places that you can go for, $500 and get a 3-day trip with all of the, things that are included. The itineraries in the package, if anybody had any questions about the itinerary for Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, all the certificates of insurance and permission slips. And then if you go further through the packet, you'll see at the end that there are student information sheets that we use just to double check if there's any allergies or things that we need to know about a student that's traveling away from home for the first time. So just making sure that everybody's comfortable and safe. In addition to that, we do host a parent meeting. So parents get to come in, go over the itinerary with Mr. Meehan, and then ask any questions that pertain to the times and the events that are taking place, and also, to squash any anxieties that they might have about their students, their children traveling away from home for the first time.
So I'm gonna go ahead and but Ms. Medina, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to raise my hand here. I just wanted to ask, I see some forms that are actually, on in the packet with a thing, but they're not filled out. And I was just wondering, so right now I'm looking at the Philadelphia, this is the Philadelphia trip, correct?
You're
And I
talking about
see
the student contract?
The emergency contact sheet, yes.
Yeah, those are all going to be filled out as we get closer to the trip, especially with regard to the medications and medical notifications, because those things are all subject to change. One of the things that Mr. Dean and I were talking about is, the field trip packet is required so much earlier than we go on the trip. So sometimes we don't have all the necessary information prior to. The parents fill out these medical notification forms and they do it the night of that parent meeting. All these forms get filled out. So if there's a time for questions, Mr. Meehan can, answer any of the questions that the parents have while they're filling out the forms.
Okay, I just asked that because I tried to go through every single one of the 109 pages that I was given, and I see that you guys were very thorough in it, but those weren't filled out yet. And I assumed that, but I just wanted to make sure because there were some specific things that were on there, which is, good when you go out of state to have that information, and it was more thorough than some of the other ones. So all that information gathered will be,
Those
great asset for the teachers. And I like your ratio, the 1-to-4, it's going to be a lot of, that's a nice ratio for me. That way the kids can be more involved with their chaperone and stuff. But that is all for me.
Yeah, and those forms too are not district required forms. Those are just something additional that Mr. Meehan does to make sure that we, have all the necessary information about allergies and, likes and dislikes and fears and things like that before they travel.
Mr. Woodson, do you have any questions?
No questions here.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Bennigan has joined the meeting. Person.
No question.
Yeah, I saw the insurance, but question, as far as the field trip with the notification for the executive staff, that one just brought light because that one, I don't know why that one hasn't been filled out yet or submitted.
Which one?
The executive staff signatures. There's a field trip executive staff signatures to be completed by the executive staff when it was received, the title signature.
I did submit the packet to the necessary district staff. I just can't speak to who is going to be the executive staff that signs that.
Okay.
These forms that are included in your packet are exemplars, so that you know all of the forms that schools are submitting in order to account for the security and safety of our students. The signed documents, those are on file.
Okay, because I see them in other field trips that we have being presented today. So as I thoroughly went through every single one of them, I was noting some that were filled out and not filled out, and this was one that wasn't on this one, but the other ones do have it. Okay, Thank you. And I see a timestamp on the other ones also, but, all right. Thank you.
Right.
I don't know if Mr. Medina bring it on, but it was, I don't know, you guys, I believe you spoke to that about so far, it wasn't blank.
Yeah, you just
Okay,
talked about
all
it.
right, wait, that's it. Thank you,
Um,
Madam Chair.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and, if there's no other questions, I'm gonna, make the motion, to the full board, the field trip for High Horizons Magnet School to Philadelphia from May 15th through May 17th, 2024.
I'll second that.
All right, and all in favor, or any further discussion? No, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so we will see you on, 22nd, April 22nd for the full board.
April 22nd, I'll make a note of that.
All right,
Thank you.
is someone here to, present on the
Things to drink, huh?
Dangerous Classroom? The other side.
There's both of them.
All right, is anybody here, we'll pause on that one as well. Is anyone here for Discovery Magnet? Both, they hit the magnet,
Yeah.
they have to figure.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna move to, move item 5, discussion and possible action of math competition to McCormick Place in Chicago. We can speak on that. Have a second? Will we just,
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we will speak on this.
Can I come up here, please?
Yeah,
Great.
This is the Chicago, correct?
yes.
Yeah.
math.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm filling in for Mr. Quindo. She has strep throat and an ear infection that's feeling kind of miserable. So I would set up, I presented this to the board last year. We have been sending someone from the Fairchild Wheeler campus, with the exception of COVID years, to MathCon in Chicago. What that is students do an online assessment for the first winnowing out, then they do another online assessment, and then some of the students get selected to come. There are approximately 40 students per grade in the nation. Last year, we sent Zach Allen, who was a junior, and he finished 7th nationally in the MathCon. Last year, the board approved using Title IV funds for this competition. I didn't talk to central office for this, but this should also be both approving the funds and approving the field trip. The packets here, the reason why there is no airline transportation done is that if it's funded through the district, we have to use the district's travel agency. If it's not funded through the district, we scramble and do some really fast fundraising and use Expedia and find the cheapest flight, hopefully sitting down for those guys going to Chicago. It's been very successful. So Zach Allen and Mr. Kokak, who's one of the math coaches from the math club, will be going. They both went, as I said, last year. So the packets here, it's not 100% complete because I still need, or Mr. Quindo needs, once it's approved for funding for, and if the board approves for funding, then as it did last year, for the district then to arrange the travel. And then we can set an updated packet through the board or whoever means needs to be done for the additional travel and the hotel information. We have a male chaperone with a male student going. They'll both be staying in separate rooms. And the student, this is his third time going, and this is the second time going for the chaperone. I
will open up to questions from committee members.
So it's Is the chaperone, just a chaperone, a local parent, or is that a relative?
It's one of the teachers, one of our teachers. So our
Okay.
math club, we have two math clubs, a male and a female, math, club coach. Because we do have females compete. None of them qualified this year. Before COVID, one of them did. One year we had 5 students qualified to go. So grades for 3 different grades. So it was actually very good. One student finished second in the nation. But that was in 2017 or 18, if I remember correctly.
Though you mentioned that there's some things that hasn't been completed or sent out, I'll still ask. Because I see that the nurse hasn't reviewed the medical needs, and also the completed packet, of course, hasn't been sent over to the superintendent's office yet.
Yeah, so it can't be completed until the travel. There's a section on the travel and it says to be determined. I have included what I estimate the flights, well, I should say I did. Mr. Quindo included what will the estimated cost for the hotel and the airfare to be. The flights would be out of LaGuardia. One year we got really good rates out of Westchester, and maybe there's something out of New Haven, but we've set it up to do it that way. So it can't be 100% complete until that's done. This has gone to Dr. Avery. He, myself, Mr. Quindo, and the teacher that was the MathCon advisor were all involved in a discussion about this.
Do we know, I know the flights hadn't been done and the hotel that hasn't been done, but you just said that we needed to add funding to this request. Do we have a tentative budget? And it was
So this was approved by, this was approved last year by using Title IV funding. I have an approximate budget, but once the board approves it, so it'd be the airport for 2 and the rooms for 2. I didn't put together the budget to support this. That wasn't required last year, so I did a similar package waiting for this as I was consulted on setting it up. So the total price for this to work out would be about $2,000. $1,817.91. That's the estimated price, and that is on the 4th to last page. That includes transportation, the airfare, and the hotel costs, as well as the registration fee.
Okay, I'll pass over to, if somebody else has.
Mr. Woodson, do you have any questions?
No questions here.
Just have to get the language right on the agenda for that kind of thing to improve funding, because that's not in this request. So just want to make note of that. Mr. Sakala, do you have questions?
Well, good luck to the students in the competition.
No question, wishing the best.
All right, so I'm gonna make the motion. Refer to the full board. Now go back to the.
Do we have to edit it and make amendments now by any chance, Jen, concerning those funding?
When it goes
to that?
when it's on the full board agenda, we can make sure it's on that agenda.
Okay, perfect.
So I'm making a motion to refer to the full board the MathCon competition to McCormick Place, Chicago. Second.
I'll second that.
So any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So, April 22nd.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Appreciate the board. Have a good evening.
See you, Jerry. Take care.
Dr. Morgan.
And Dr. Morgan, are you presenting on one of the trips?
Good evening. Yes, I actually have the teacher online, so we can kind of present together. I have her on my phone. This trip is the trip to Nature's Classroom. The tag students who are going from Winthrop and from, is it Marin, Pam?
It's
Yes.
Marin.
Right, Winthrop and Marin. They go to this trip. They went last year. Before the pandemic, they went. So this is the same trip. They get a chance to spend overnight in Nature's Classroom where they actually study water. Is it the water trip, Pam? I want to make sure it's the right one.
No, they go out into the woods and they look at different animals. They do hikes, they do group cooperative activities, and skill building activities all together in different groups amongst each other.
Okay, where is it located? This is not Ivoryton? Where's?
It is Iverton.
It is Ivoryton. Okay, got
They
you.
don't go near water really,
Okay.
so.
So I'm sorry,
Is this-
just for clarification with my board chair, we're now on line 2, is it? The discussion
Yes,
for,
we're back on number 2.
okay, no problem. I just want to make sure that we were all on the same page and we can do this. Okay. Nature.
Go ahead, Dr. Morgan.
All right, so basically it's an overnight trip, in nature, and they get to do skill building exercises and look at different animals. And actually, Nature's Classroom sets up all of the activities so that the teachers who are there, they are chaperoning, but they are part of the activities. Sometimes, not all the times. Nature's Classroom has their own chaperones. They have their own nurses, their own health, health support personnel. And it's just a nice outing for the children. Pam, you want to add something to it?
Last year, they really enjoyed it. They learned a lot about the outdoors and working together cooperatively, and they enjoyed the growing up and living in the cabins and cleaning up after themselves for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so it had a lot to do with outdoor, but a lot for personal building too, for self-esteem and everything.
Any questions?
Any questions from committee members, Ms. Redina
This is for Luis Munoz Marin, correct?
and Winthrop?
And John Winthrop.
How many students are going?
22 total.
How many teachers or chaperones and chaperones?
We have 3 teachers and we have 5 chaperones.
Thank you. I'll pass.
Mr. Woodson, do you have any questions?
No questions here.
Mr. Benham, do you have any questions?
No other question. Thank you.
Mr. Sakalovic, any questions?
No, Madam Clerk.
All right. Yes, Dr. Levitt.
My question is pretty simple. What standards, what educational standards is this trip tied to?
Well, they are learning about rock formation and how the land was created, preserved. They're learning about biology and insects and animals that live within the wild as they're on their walks and excursions. So I'd have to look up the standards that were actually, because I don't have the packet in front of me.
It's an environmental trip as well.
Environmental, yeah.
Yeah, it's an environmental trip. And it does align with the standards in grades 4 and 5.
Okay, well, in the future, I'd like to have those standards included in the packet. And I would also like to not have student identifiable information included in the packet. That should not be viewed by anyone in the public, not even, I just would prefer not to have that included. You can include sample forms that they're going to complete, but not the student identifiable information, please.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any further questions on this? Okay. So I'll make the motion.
I say, Jen,
Go ahead.
I'm just going through because I had to go backwards real quick. I just want to
You have
make
a
sure
question?
because I know there was there was one that I didn't see. And I think it's this one. Just give me 1 second. I got one more page. This is going to be going through We Transport, correct?
Correct.
'Cause I didn't see in the packet, if I'm correct, I didn't see the insurance information, but I guess because they're using the district, is that? Why
Yes,
it's not
that's
on here?
correct. We're using We Transport.
But I'm sorry, maybe a question for Ms. Superintendent. Their insurance information is not in the packet. Is that because we use them in the district and we have that on file? Or
Yes, 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 that is the protocol. The protocol is that if we use We Transport, we do not need to put the insurance information in there. If we use another charter company that, you know, we don't normally use, we would have to show the insurance information.
Any further questions? All right, I'm making a motion to refer to the full board the Talented and Gifted Programs Trip to Nature Classroom in Iverton, Connecticut from April 29th through May 1st. Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? So all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so April 22nd is the full board meeting. Thank you, Dr. Morgan, and I missed the
Miss
name of the teacher.
Musante, it's Miss Musante.
Thank you both.
You.
Yes. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Is anybody on for discovery? Yes. Okay. So Ms. DeReese? This is for the Discovery Magnet field trip to Washington, D.C. and Gettysburg. You're on mute if you are speaking. Ms. DeReese?
I'm sorry, Jen, I was muted. Which one is this next one?
Oh, the Discovery Magnet school field trip.
Thank you. Discovery.
You want to present her?
I you have the,
I have the packet.
Okay. So.
She's having audio issues.
Good evening, board members. So I'm Sangeeta Bella. I used to be at Discovery as a principal till 2 months ago. So this trip was planned with my understanding. So my teacher is online, but she's unable to, I guess, the communication is not happening. So I just wanted to present this again as, Ms. Carbone was talking about. We do the similar thing at Discovery. We take our 7th and 8th graders. 1 year we'll go to Washington and 1 year we'll go to Philadelphia. This is a trip to Washington, D.C. and Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Again, we do similar things. We use a company, so everything is all organized. It is very structured because we want to ensure that it is very educational. Kids are able to maximize their 3-day trip. So if you look at it, we used the same company last year. Prior to that, we used to use another company, but it was getting too expensive. So we had talked to some of our colleagues in the district and they had suggested it. So last year we had used this company and it is again, a company that is reliable. We have done fundraisers, parents are informed. They're aware of the whole, if you look at it, if you have any questions, we have the safety plan, we go and the current principal does the same thing and the packet came through our office. So we have looked at it. So everything is in place and we are presenting this to you so we can get a full board approval for children to go and experience because it is directly connected to the curriculum. And I think that's what I wanted to talk about is the social studies and all the things that they do and how they can go and in person and to have that experience of observing something that they have read in their curriculum.
Let's see if she's, Mr. Reese?
I can put her on my phone.
Yeah, too. Yeah.
Hi, can,
Oh, she's not.
Oh, there
just
she is.
checking if you guys can hear me.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm driving right now and there is bad signal and they wouldn't let me hear the meeting, so I do apologize. But thank you so much for
You're here
having us
now.
present. Thank you. As Mrs. Bella was saying, it is a trip that we normally do take every year. It is our trip to DC. The only change this year is that we are going to be going to Washington, DC, and Gettysburg, and stopping and going right back home. So it is shortened, but I think it'll be a great trip. We're going to do the monuments. We're going to go to the African American Museum, to the Holocaust Museum, and visit the Gettysburg Center so that we can kind of study Civil War, because that's where we're going to be, what we're going to be studying this year after this unit is done. And so we are excited. One other exciting component that we have added to this year is we are going to participate in a debate with a middle school team in Washington, D.C., and we hope to be able to tour Howard University. So we're excited about that. So the first day we're going to be in Washington, D.C., second day, Washington, D.C., and then we'll travel back to Gettysburg and to tour the following day, and then we'll return back home. For the safety plan that we have a number of chaperones, including our teachers, parent chaperones that will be chaperoning with us. So it'll be 1 to 4 students. So far, we have about 35 students that have registered to participate in the trip. And so we're hoping by the end of this month, we'll have at least 45 to 50 students participating. And normally we've taken all of the phone numbers of all parents, all students, if they have cell phones. I've had them share their medical concerns or conditions, medication that they are taking, and emergency contact information that we should use to contact if in case there is an emergency. And with the company that we use, they will provide the medical centers that we should use should there be an emergency. We will be going with 2 to 3 teachers, and we'll be monitoring at night in the hotels. And the hotels, normally their time to go to bed is 10 p.m. They have to wake up around 5:30. They have a very full schedule, so normally students are tired out by 9:30. We'll be using a company. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, good. The bus company does have insurance. I provided that information in the packet that we submitted. And then we hope to be able to regroup when we return to talk about our experience. It should be exciting. So it'll be a typical Washington, D.C. trip, in addition to going to Gettysburg and participating in a debate. So our debate members will actually debate with a student or a team in DC. So we're excited, and we'll be meeting with Mr. Rapice, who's also coordinating that as well.
Thank you. Committee members, Mr.
You're welcome.
Medina, do you have any questions?
Not right now. I'm still trying to find out where we are, so I apologize.
Oh, we're on the Discovery Magnet School field trip.
Yeah, I was just trying to find out their info. And like this, is this the Fantastic Tours that's doing it, correct?
No, Silver Tours.
It's
The
Silver
Silver Mill
Mills.
Student Travel.
That's what I mean. No problem. I'll wait. Go ahead, Mr. Woodson, if you got
It's
something.
if it helps, it starts on page 60 of your packet. Mr. Woodson, do you have any questions?
No, I'm all set.
Mr. Benner?
No questions.
Mr. Sokolovic?
Thank you.
Mr. Medina?
No, I just got it right now. I'm just looking at it. Thank you.
Okay.
Discovery, got it.
So I'm gonna actually go ahead and make the motion. Refer to the full board, the Discovery Magnet School field trip to Washington DC and Gettysburg, Pennsylvania from May 14th through May 16th, 2024. You have a second?
I second that.
Any further discussion? Okay, seeing no discussion, all in favor for the trip? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, so the ayes have it. On April 22nd, the full board will review this. Thank you, Mr. Reese.
Thank you so much, committee.
And this
Thank you,
board
Ms.
member just pointed,
Oh.
is our interim principal, so she is there.
Oh,
And just,
yeah, gotcha. It's, we'll present it at the, April 22nd board meeting. All right,
Thank you, duly noted. Thank you so much.
thank you. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4 field trips, 5 field trips, 4 field trips. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the discussion of possible referral to full board, the Adult Education Grant Application Program. Program Enhancement Project. Who's presenting on that?
Looking for a presenter, anybody.
That is great. Was it Dara? All right, as we wait, I'm gonna move to item 7, the PAC PTSO expenditure update to the next item. Do you have a second for that?
I second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, so we're gonna talk about the update on the expenditures that we discussed last meeting. I believe this has just been added to the packet for those of you online. I have the paper, we have paper copies here. Let me go through it, okay. So we just want to see, like, the last time we met, we're at 42% spending.
Yes, so we have moved considerably forward as of April the 9th. Currently, I only have 2 schools that are under 60% of their spending, and the information that I have is that they have encumbered their funds or in the process of encumbering their funds shortly hereafter, and will be spending all of their funding. I'm not calling out individual schools because I don't think that's very nice, but you have the numbers in front of you.
All right, so we went to 87, so nearly doubled, right? What doubled? I'm looking at it sideways. Do we have any questions for Dr. Levy David on this?
I'm sorry, I know she had mentioned something, I know she didn't want to mention schools, but she has said that some things are being moved for next year, she said. What was that? I'm sorry.
No, what I said, Mr. Medina, was that the schools that are under 60% of their expenditures have notified us today that they're actually encumbering their funding to spend that funding before the end of the school year.
Somebody, I'm guessing that's using the P10.
Correct.
P10 form I learned that last. So they'll be using their money.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've spoken to those individual schools.
Do you have any other questions, Mr. Medina?
No, not at this time. I just noticed what you just said, that something was on there, so I went to it right now. So yeah, I'll look at that and I'll pass questions to you tomorrow, the next day, for the next meeting. But no questions.
Mr. Woodson, any questions?
Nope, not for me.
All right. Holding you for last. Mr. Sakala, any questions?
Couple of questions, a bit of
Go ahead.
comments.
Mhm.
The standard of, if you've been here a while, I've heard this conversation before. I heard discussion about expending our monies and how it's really a barometer of the effort that is made by principals and staff to engage parents. It's like one of the only metrics we have to measure that. When I first came on the board, we had a lot of schools at 0%. And we worked very hard to make it an accountability metric. I mean, if you offer parents, at the very least, food to come and they don't have to cook and provide some not professional development, some parental activities, math nights, science nights, or whatever have you, anything to help their children in the schools, they show up. But to have a lot of these, basically, it feels like we're back where we were in 2017 or 18. It's no reflection on anybody. We're in a transition, yes. But it's a little disheartening to see all these numbers. And some of them did better than others. We got a couple of people with 5 cents left, which bravo on that. And really, it's began to be part of the evaluation beginning with Dr. Johnson way back to, I mean, we can't control if parents show up or not, but we can control the effort and control what's here and use this as a barometer for, it was suggested to past superintendents to use that as a metric to evaluate the superintendent and how effectively they were spending their Title I parental outreach dollars. That's the question. That's basically, I guess, we'll go comments. Question, and we don't want to point out the ones, we got it actually 0% here.
Where does you see 0%?
I see a 0% used.
Is that the old one? You might be you're looking at the old one.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I got 2. Thank you, I apologize. I go, okay, yeah, I was noticing because I didn't see the 5 cents up. Okay, there we go. Like Beardsley School, bravo, we can point out the good ones, right? Excellent job expending. Got a couple that went over, which is not as concerning, but we got to be a little more careful there. High Horizons, kudos at 100%. Is that Cross, 100%. And we got to call out the ones that are doing good. Aerospace, IT, 100%. 99, Biotech, and if I missed anybody doing excellent, I apologize, but definitely we got to outreach our parents. We got to do a little better on our outreach for parents as a board, district, and everybody. We just got to make that outreach. I mean, we can't get them to come, but we can show we make effort. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Pavlik. Mr. Bennett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I see we have around 7 schools. Data cover level, and it's okay that when they pass, let's say 100%, but some schools say 110, 104. It's okay. They pass that, the percentage.
Well, they shouldn't be spending more than they have, but sometimes you don't have exact amounts when you have parents show up and you plan for events. You want to make sure that you serve everyone.
But it's not going to be a problem.
No, it's not going to be a problem.
I don't want to say they're spending more.
Not if it's just a couple of dollars. If they had spent 50% over their budget, then we would be having a conversation.
I would say.
And then I see down there it's around almost 10 schools they need to spend the money, but you say now they can spend it before the school is done. So
yes, they can.
Yeah, that's good. So to let you know for the records, I'm gonna reach the leaders so I can help them, so they can spend, as soon as possible, because I know time goes so fast, and we're in the corner to graduation, stuff like that, and try to finish so many things. So I'm gonna try to contact all these leaders so they can spend, the money as soon as possible.
And some may be hanging on to the funding for an end of year event with their parents. So we don't want to make an assumption that people haven't spent 100% of their budget because they don't care about parents. They may very well have some events that they're planning for the end of the year, or events that they're planning to, especially when you have bridge events like students going from 8th grade to high school, and you want to inform parents, or students going from 5th grade to 6th grade. So there are a lot of reasons why this money may not be at 100%.
I see, at least, was much better than the last time with 40-something% at least to spend the money. That's the good thing. The only thing I can say, Madam Chair, if you can reach them list for the vendors, the most vendors they can use, because sometimes they got some issues with vendors, stuff like that.
So like have someone send them that list, you think?
The list of vendors that they can
The
use.
most we use more, and that's very much better. So no more question or comment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Medina? You're on mute.
You're mute.
Yep. I just wanted to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. Even on the sheet that was just added to the packet. And again, Mr. Benham could chime in whenever, because I understood that everything needed to be what's called encumbered by 4/9. And that means that everything has to be, things have to be quoted, the P10s has to be in form stack. Outside of that, nothing could be done if it hasn't been done already by April 9th, or if am I mistaken? Because I heard something that just,
They may have encumbered the funds for an event beyond April 9th, sir.
oh, that's fine. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. As long as it's encumbered, but I thought these numbers represent everything that was encumbered and everything that's in form stack. I thought this list that we just got today.
It's as of April 9th, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
So
So
the
that-
day's not over, so they still have
No,
time to.
exactly. No.
spend
Want to
this
make
money.
sure that it was done. Okay. Oh, I know the date. Today's only the 8th, or today's
Yes.
tonight.
Is he done? Are you done?
He's done, yeah. Mr.
Yeah.
Scully?
Yeah, I need to backtrack a bit because I was looking at the wrong sheet.
Mhm.
And this sheet is not all transparency. The vendors which I spoke was looking at an old sheet that was not updated. We are not anywhere near where we were in 2019. We are in a lot better shape
Nice.
than we were in 2019. This is just like looking through the data hurriedly because it just got here. When I look at this sheet, we're only looks like two schools down below, which is excellent. Except for those two schools, which Dr. Levy Davis said she's going to be working on. Thank you. Just wanted to clarify for the record. And I apologize for my mistakes.
Thank you. Good news. Any further discussion on this? We just wanted to, I put this on the agenda just to give us an update from last month. So, is any further questions? All right. So we are gonna, go back to, the adult education grant application, and Ms. Stevens is here to present on it. If you want, there's a seat up here if you want to join us.
I apologize for my lateness. Thank you for skipping over and coming back to me again. So on the agenda, you see that adult education would like to apply for federal grant funding. This is an opportunity that's awarded to all adult education centers across Connecticut, well, across the United States, I should say, with the hope of enhancing your program beyond what's available to you through state funding. So these, again, are for activities that are above and beyond what's available for state funding. The three priority areas that we are focusing on are 1, instructional innovation, 2, technology integration, and the last one is transition to a career navigation support. These 3 areas are areas that I've identified as areas of growth for Bridgeport adult education, and quite honestly, they're areas of growth among many adult education centers. But to target those specifically, I think is essential in developing our adult education program. The first one, which is instructional innovation, provides us an opportunity to be creative around how we approach this priority area. What we are targeting is our 17 and 18-year-old students. We know that as a result of COVID-19, and even before that, we've seen an increase in 17 and 18-year-olds leaving high school. So our hope is to provide a program that is more of a cohort-based wraparound program that will provide not only instruction, but also embedded workforce readiness. It will include a contextualized opportunities for learning, professional development for staff to be included in that process as well. We also want to make sure that students have access to community resources. We realize that that's something that's very important for students to know, to have wraparound services around mental health and other support services. We know that Bridgeport is community rich, and we want to really make sure that there is a seamless access for students, especially our 17 and 18-year-olds, to access that. The second priority area, which is technology integration, also a real important area for adult education. We know that not only do some of our students lack access to into technology, but they also lack those digital literacy skills. And those are related to post-secondary, but also just related to the basic task of applying for a job online. So what this would do is this priority area would enable us to engage a workforce developer that would work with students to enhance their digital literacy skills for employment for post-secondary. In addition to that, we recognize that it's really important that we engage our instructors in the digital literacy process as well. Many of our instructors are still learning, and we want to make sure that they're well positioned to support our students as well. So it's not just a digital literacy person, but it's also embedding that process with our instructors as well. And the last priority area is transition, very essential to the adult education component. And our hope is here that we can use that workforce developer to create some career pathways for students. So a student enters adult education, they immediately start to work on what their next steps are once they graduate. We will have clear career pathways. Our hope is that we might be able to work together with some of the area high schools to offer similar career pathways. I know Central High School is in the process of discussing that, and I actually have a meeting next week to discuss that, or 2 weeks from now to discuss how we might be able to collaborate in that process. And additionally, again, we would want to look into some of the different licenses that are available to us through this. Again, not available through state funding, but we actually are exploring the opportunity to purchase some VR goggles that are specifically related to career exploration. So a student can actually go as far as to even train in a career by using VR goggles. And essentially, again, that workforce developer would be connecting those students with a post-secondary experience with the workplace to explore some training opportunities that would be free to those students as well, with local employers for job shadows and internships as well. That would all be part of this third priority area that I discussed. And that is it in a nutshell. Each of these, the first priority area is $30,000. The second priority area is $30,000 as well. And the final one is $50,000. So for a total of $110,000.
I'll go to committee members first for questions. Mr. Medina, do you have any questions?
Now, this is a grant, like you just mentioned, 30, 30, and 50 for a total of 110. And this is a grant from the state, correct?
And this is a federal grant.
Thank you. It's a federal grant. And I noticed that there was a funding period. So when you talk about 110,000 for this grant, and it's just for information as far as for me, because here it says, actually under source, it says state under my packet. And you just said it was federal.
Yeah, it is federal. That's correct. The grant period is 4 years. That's $110,000 every year over the course of 4 years. Provided that you meet the grant requirements each year.
It is not unusual for federal grants to pass through state agencies for distribution. So in this case, it's the federal grant that is being passed through state agencies for distribution to other institutions.
Okay, and then my dates here give me a 3-year, but you said it was a 4-year.
You know, yes. So verbally, we were told 4 years, but you're correct. It does say 3 years on the RFP. I can gain clarification on that, but I do know that they indicated it is a 4-year grant.
And that is 110 for all 4 years, or split within 4 years?
Each year, it's 110,000.
Okay. Thank you. I yield.
Mr. Woodson, do you have any questions?
No questions here.
Mr. Sakalavik, do you have any questions?
Could you pass me for a moment, please?
Yeah, Mr. Benham?
No, Mr. Medina, you covered about the 3 years. So now it's 4 years, as she said. Thank you.
As far as, I guess I'll ask you, as far as the priority areas, when you're looking into the different agencies for the workforce development, is that going out to bid as well, or how does that work?
They simply signed an MOU.
Okay.
It's expected that adult education centers are going to work with their local workforce boards.
Okay.
And it's really essential to the process with students. So we rely on one another as feeders to each other.
Got a question? I didn't write it down. I'm sorry. Mrs. Colwick?
Yes, okay. Yeah, I'm a little, these grants are being brought to us. We're bringing grants or request for proposals connected to the grants?
In this case, the request for proposal is connected to the grant. So we submit a request for proposal. It's required that Board of Ed signs off on the RFP in order for them to accept it and review it.
And the RFP itself is attached to the packets now. But it's still got to go to the full board.
Yeah.
Fine. This is,
I don't believe that the full entire RFP was submitted. No, just my summary.
Yeah, if we're in fact approving the RFP in conjunction with this. You said 34 years. I know they recently changed state statute to make up to 5 years. That's what that would be available to use for 5 years. Money's not there.
I believe it's dictated, at the federal level. I don't think there's anything that we could adjust.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any further questions from Mr. Medina, Mr. Woodson?
No, just a follow up as far as us changing or having that change. That way, if it does get moved to the full board for being that it's clarified with the funding period, and or I know Miss Superintendent mentioned something about the source being that sometimes it's local, they do it federal, but it goes through the state. I just want some clarity on that too, because this says the state. But is there a deadline on this application being moved?
The deadline is May 3rd. The application is due.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move for referral to the full board, the adult education grant application program enhancement project. Do you have a second?
Second.
Alrighty. So move to second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so the ayes have it. And all right, so April 22nd is the next full board meeting that this will be presented at.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. The next item on the agenda is the special education update that will be presented in May. On May, what did we say? First full board meeting? Yeah. It's going to be presented for the full board in May, on May 13th.
So there's nothing being presented today?
Do not have an update today. We're going to have a full presentation for the full board on May.
So why wasn't it in the agenda?
Because I put it on the agenda. May 13th. I put it on the agenda and I didn't confirm with, it was on my end. I forgot to confirm.
Good answer. No, I got you.
That we were going to do it.
But I was just like, wait a minute, that makes no sense.
No, in all honesty, we had discussed a full presentation and we had delayed it from February, I believe, or March, I believe.
Well,
once we get through this budget season, we'll get the special ed update on May 13th for the full board. And then following that, we'll get regular updates in the committee meeting.
So we're not gonna have it first in the next committee meeting with us. It's just gonna go right to the board?
Yeah, it's just an update. There's no action. It's not an action item or anything. So it's gonna go to full board so everybody has a chance to discuss it. Yeah, and that's that. Anything else about that one?
And you'll receive documents prior to the full board meeting as well.
Yes. So look forward to that. It's going to the full board, Mr. Medina, because my next committee meeting won't be until after that, so it's sooner date, basically, to have it. Because we usually meet the third Tuesday. All right, so with that said, the next item is adjourning, so motion to adjourn.
I second.
All right, all in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All righty, the time is 7:31, meeting's adjourned, thank you.